Okay. Yes, recording has started. So we now officially beginning the online capacity building workshop on data solutions for evidence-based policy and stakeholder collaboration. It is organized jointly. Oh, okay. Okay, I will say it again. Dear colleagues, if you do not speak, please turn off your microphones. Everybody, please turn off your microphone. Okay, I will continue. We are starting our workshop. It was supposed to be a workshop in Tbilisi for 2 days. Unfortunately, due to the pandemics, we had to move it online, and it will only be 4 hours today. But we hope it will be successful, and we hope that in some maybe in a few months or in a year, we will be able to do the full workshop and do it live in Tbilisi. A few ground rules before we continue. I repeat again, please turn off your microphones when you do not speak. Also, please turn off your cameras when you do not speak. The reason for that is videos take a lot of bandwidth, so the connection will be better for everybody if you turn off your microphones. Right now, I see video of Georgi Tbilisi. Georgi, can you turn off your camera, please? Thank you. I will stop at that, and I will now give the floor and ask to officially open today's workshop to the Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development of Georgia, Mr. David Tvalabeishvili. Mr. Tvalabeishvili, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. I'm really grateful to you and the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, of course, for organizing this meeting in these really challenging times. I also want to thank all the participants of the people attending this workshop. So we are talking today about energy efficiency, the data quality. So the energy efficiency is an important topic of the government of Georgia. This is driven by the dependence on imported energy resources and the constant increase in energy demand in our country. Another factor is our commitment to fulfilling the provisions of the Extension Agreement, where transposition of energy efficiency is among the main areas. Although the country's primary generation source is local hydro resources, due to the seasonality of this generation, we face insufficient electricity generation to meet the country's demand. In addition, natural gas and other energy products are almost 100% imported from outside of Georgia. Therefore, we believe that energy efficiency is a solution to demand side. Transition to energy efficiency buildings and industries require development of appropriate legal framework. We have made some significant progress towards this goal. By the end of 2019, three primary laws were adopted. These laws are first, Georgian law on energy and water supply, which sets a new framework for the energy sector and includes the establishment of a 10-year energy and climate action plan. The second law is on energy labeling, and the third adopted law is on the promotion of use of energy from renewable sources. And these three laws were adopted by the Parliament of Georgia. At the same time, energy efficiency legislative package, which includes energy efficiency law and energy performance of building law, has been submitted to the Parliament of Georgia, and by the end of this month, by the end of May, these laws should be adopted by the Parliament as well. We are developing in parallel the National Energy and Climate Action Plan. This is very important, covering period of 2021-2030. It will include targets for energy efficiency, for renewable energy, and greenhouse gas emissions. After this energy efficiency legislation is planned to launch a quite substantial work to draft and adopt a number of secondary legal acts regarding energy efficiency standards, energy audits, certification, and so on, to make energy efficiency legislative framework implementable. I would like to highlight that the quality and the precise data is important for decision making in the energy sector. The EU also requires strongly the use of precise and detailed information in decision making. In order to approximate all the standards in this regard, we are actively involved in relevant processes. Our ministry is eager to continue cooperation with everybody, including with UNECE, in knowledge sharing with your organization, and any other activities. Today's workshop is one of the best examples of our successful cooperation. Well, in short, this is what I wanted to highlight from the very beginning regarding the current situation and the plans, our plans to accelerate promotion of energy efficiency in our country. And I hope that this workshop will be useful, and I wish you all productive discussions. Thank you very much, Mr. Drubinski.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tbilisi. I ask you to stay with us for a couple more minutes. And right now, I will ask everybody who can to turn on your cameras for about a minute or two. In the meantime, our colleagues from Armenia will take a family photo of this virtual workshop. So please, right now, turn on your cameras and look in the camera and say cheese in the camera. And our colleagues from Armenia will take a family photo of the workshop in Georgia. It's another example of good cooperation between the countries and also between UNECE and the countries. So we have, I would say, 1 minute, look in the camera and smile. I now ask Eric. Eric, please tell us, how are we doing?
Well, I'm trying to capture at the moment. Hello, everybody. Gamarjaba, Tbilisi. Please stay online some more minutes because I guess the bandwidth is very poor. That's why I still don't receive, for example, the cameras of Amani, Anna, Meisuradze, Catherine Pierre, Giga, Georgi, Hanin, JT, Luca, Garibashvili, Marina Gogoladze. I'm still waiting for some cameras. We have the page where the deputy minister is online still. And
okay, so let's say we have another minute to get everybody who can. Maybe not everybody has the camera available. So 1 more minute and then we continue with the workshop. And I hope you have our main facilitator for today, Alisa Frere, on your screen.
Sure.
Sorry, hello, Eric. This is Anna Maisradze speaking. Can you see my video now?
I think so. I can see it.
Okay.
See also?
You're in the second row. If you like this place, so stay there. And smile, please.
Okay, everybody smile, say cheese.
I guess we are done, but still Okay.
Okay.
Oleg, I guess we're done. Thank you and
Thank you
good luck
very
to
much,
everyone.
Eric. Thank you. And greetings to all the colleagues in Armenia who joined today's workshop. We had a very good one 2 days ago, and we hope today we'll have another good one. Thank you all.
Wish you the same.
Thank you. Okay.
Good luck.
Now, request to everybody, please turn off your cameras to save some bandwidth, and please turn off your mics. Otherwise, you may have some background noise and it will interfere with the presentations and speeches, and we don't want that. So thank you all again. I will say just a few words. The workshop today, as I mentioned earlier, was supposed to be a physical workshop in Tbilisi for 2 days, today and tomorrow. Unfortunately, we had to move it online and do a more compressed version. Nevertheless, we hope it will be useful. It also allowed us to bring in more people from other places. We have colleagues from ESCWA, Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia, who invited to this workshop. Well, first of all, we have colleagues from the Secretariat joining, and they also invited colleagues from Jordan and Tunisia who are interested in this issue of the data solutions for evidence-based policies in energy efficiency in buildings to join our event today. So more people from more places, but the focus is on Georgia. And what I would suggest when we have the presentations and you have questions, and I'm sure you will have questions, please write them in the chat. I will monitor the chat and will address your questions to the relevant presenter. After that, if needed, I will ask you to ask your own question. That's also possible. But my proposal is, since the focus of the workshop is on Georgia, we give priority to Georgian colleagues. Let's say 2 questions from Georgia and then 1 question from somewhere else. I hope this is acceptable. We also have colleagues from ASCAP joining us, colleagues from the Copenhagen Center on Energy Efficiency, and others. I am not going to list everybody, but thank you all for joining. I will stop here, and I believe the next speaker in this opening part, in this introductory part, is Gogita Todradze, head of the Geostat, the National Statistical Office of Georgia. Gogita, you have the floor.
Thank you, Oleg. Can you hear me?
Yes, Gogita, and we can see you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to greet you on behalf of the Statistics Office of Georgia and express my sincere appreciation to the UNECE for organizing such a representative workshop on data solutions for evidence-based policy. Due to the circumstances regarding worldwide COVID-19 pandemic, unfortunately, the entire calendar of international events had been substantially changed. In light of the current public concerns, Geostat has taken the number of steps to ensure safety of our employees and users as well, such as moving to the alternative data collection methods, replacing the personal interviewing method by CATI, computer-assisted telephone interviews, and online surveys. Furthermore, a significant number of our employees at the moment have been working remotely since middle of March. However, in these challenging times, we are very confident in our ability to pull together with care for common concerns and stand ready to work with the international community to achieve our strategic goals and visions. Hereby, I would like to draw your attention to the work we have related energy statistics in terms of strengthening the efficient access to high quality data, development and use of common indicators supporting us, all of us, to make evidence-based decision making. It is also worth to mention that Geostat actively cooperate with UNECE, with Eurostat, with the International Energy Agency, and the Energy Community Secretariat, and other international institutions in the field of energy statistics. As a result of this cooperation, since over the last few years, Georgia has achieved significant progress in the development of energy statistics and implementation of internationally recognized standards. However, despite the greater demand for energy statistics data, there is still a critical shortfall in the national efforts to develop appropriate and sustainable statistical capacity. As you know, users need more and more sufficient statistical data, including detailed metadata to understand statistics and to make sure that provided data and published by NSOs are relevant and high quality. Finally, I think such kind of workshops and sharing experience among countries will be valuable resource for us, for all of us. I hope we will benefit a lot also from this meeting, and it will contribute to the improvement of stable energy statistics in our countries. So, it was my short introduction. I'd like to take opportunity and wish you all the best, very productive and successful training, and one important issue. Please stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Gogita. That was very interesting introduction, and I understand that we'll have some more information about what the National Statistical Office of Georgia is doing in this area. I would like to repeat again what I said earlier. Please turn off your mics when you are not speaking, and please turn off your cameras to save some bandwidth. Right now, we have almost 70 participants, and I think we'll have more joining. So please do it. Now, without further ado, I give the floor to Alisa Frere, who will start her presentation. And I would like to thank her again for all the work she has done for the workshop in Armenia and now the workshop in Georgia. Alisa, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Oleg. I would like first to thank the organizers for the opportunity to have this workshop for Georgia, and of course to all the participants that, despite the current circumstances have found interest and time to join the workshop. I will briefly present myself and why am I here. I have a PhD in energy efficiency in buildings, and I currently work with utilities and energy programs in Switzerland, in Geneva mainly. And for the recent years, I was mainly working on data and digital solutions that support decision making in relation with energy transition. And we have collaborated with different organizations, the state organizations, academia, and of course did some background research. And what I have discovered that many territories, they face the same challenges with regard to data, with regard to how to use it to make proper decisions and collaborate. And that's solutions that have been found for some territories. They can be applied or they can be useful for other locations. And that's how we started to work on this topic with UNECE. We had a couple of events before. These were mainly informative workshops during the International Forums on Sustainable Energy. And now we try to move forward and have more training and customized workshops for the locations for the member states of the UNECE. And this is the first experience for us. We had, as Oleg has mentioned, the first workshop in Armenia 2 days ago. So Georgia is the second country. I was really hoping to come to Georgia and see this wonderful country, but at least we can do it in this way. I will try to project now my presentation. I hope you can all see the slides.
Yes, Alisa, the slides, okay. The presentation is on. Thank you.
Okay. So the objective of this workshop is to see what kind of solutions related to data could be used in Georgia to support the decision makers that work in the field of energy transition, and also to facilitate collaboration between different stakeholders. And the workshop is structured in 3 parts. The first part is the overview of international experience on what is actually going on in different locations currently. The second part is focused on the current situation in Georgia with regard to legislation development, with regard to different projects related to energy efficiency that take place in Georgia, and of course the information on data, what data is collected, how it is collected. And putting these 2 elements together will hopefully help us to have the third part of the workshop after the break, where the objective would be to structure the theoretical framework on what data solutions mean, how they can be analyzed and put in place, and do together an exercise. So it will be more in a kind of discussion and co-construction of what is already possible in Georgia, what are the potentials, the existing potentials, and where we could go. So these 3 elements, they will be put together, and as much as the workshop is interactive, as much as questions or inputs we have, especially from the Georgian side, the better it is. And we will, of course, try to have time also to have an exchange and evaluation to see what are maybe the priority topics and the most interesting parts that we could further discuss on probably, hopefully, further occasions. So the first part of the presentation is introduction of data solutions. So actually, what do data solutions mean? What initiatives exist currently? So I will make a brief overview of the initiatives and then focus in more detail on a case study of Geneva. And I will finalize with a summary of how all this information might be relevant to Georgia, and hopefully we'll have some time for discussion. So taking a larger part, like in energy transition, it's a pretty complex process that involves multiple of stakeholders on different levels. There are, of course, actors that act more on policy-making side, on setting policy objectives and developing legislation. Then there are executive authorities on government, on local level, that and also different NGOs and international organizations that support implementation of energy efficiency and energy transition measures at certain customers and certain buildings. It all has some practical effects that have to be evaluated and reported by different institutions. And the system is very complex as it involves a multitude of factors, the interdependency of the solutions, because the policy-making decisions, they can impact the implementation side, hopefully to the best, and also different geographic scales, because everything finally is happening on the ground at individual buildings level, but then it should be brought up to higher geographic levels in order to monitor what is actually going on in the country. And the major challenges that exist is actually how to make all these efforts efficient. How to help stakeholders to take, on the individual level, to take informed and high quality decisions, and also how to facilitate collaboration between different stakeholders, because they're very interdependent and they need to communicate effectively and understand each other. In this context, data solutions might help. Data solutions in the definition are organization and technical elements that are put into place and are constantly evolving, and they help to improve situation in three different domains. First is data collection, second is the quality of data, and the third is facilitated access to data and information. Why do we separate data and information? Because raw data is something essential. Without it, we cannot do anything. But information is the way to present the data that is useful for a specific purpose, for a specific stakeholder. And of course, the final objective is to support decision-making and help stakeholders to collaborate. Regarding the different projects that exist currently in the world, there is a big variety of projects, and they are organized by different organizations on different geographic scales, and they have different thematics. In this presentation, I will just give a couple of examples. Each example contains a link to the project, so you will have an opportunity to see in detail each project. The first project is organized by the US Department of Energy, and it is focused uniquely on wind energy. And they have data with regard to country as a whole and for specific states. They have both estimated data like wind energy potentials, but also the field data, for example, the current wind installations, the geographic location capacity. And the project is has a lot of tools inside of it. There are maps, there are some data that can be downloaded directly so the users can use it further for their own work. There are different models and tools that are integrated in the platform that are open to everybody. And there are also guidebooks and some information that can help different actors with the questions in relation to the wind energy. So the project targets different target groups, from general public to communities, organizations, but also to the state and local governments. Another example is an example of a project on a much smaller scale. So this is a project for New York, and it targets mainly general public and New York authorities, and it provides information on consumption of buildings. This information is based on estimated values and is aggregated to block or tax lot level. And the main function of this project is to have an interactive map, so you can go to the map and click on different blocks and see all the details of estimated energy consumption. Another project of also for the city, also in relation with energy consumption, is coming from Gothenburg, Sweden. But in this case, the implementation format is an interactive map which is placed in the city. So every citizen can consult information about every individual building. And what is interesting about this project is that it is done in partnership with energy companies. So the data is not only estimated, it's actually coming from the energy sector, and it can provide information on building consumption over time, also how much the building consumes compared to the target values, which have been set by energy policy, and also do benchmarking to see which buildings are more energy efficient or less. There are really many projects currently on solar energy for different locations. And they can be either informative, like the one which is presented for Paris, which is called Paris Cadastre. It has been done by Paris City Hall in collaboration with the Urban Planning Workshop. This is an organization working in Paris. And what this information provides, it is possible to search any building in the city by address and then see what is the estimated potential for solar energy for this building in terms of surface, in terms of energy production. And then it is also based on participative principles, so different stakeholders, they can actually provide data on current solar installations. So it's possible to see where photovoltaic or thermal solar panels are actually installed. And this is also done as an interactive map. In Switzerland, there is also a solar project which has been done on the federal level. And for every building in Switzerland, the solar potential has been estimated and a simulator has been created. So any citizen, company, organization, or any other decision maker can actually find a building of interest and then make calculations on how much of solar energy can be produced, how much it can cost, and what would be the environmental and economic benefits of this solution. These are not only the governmental organizations, the public organizations, or academia that implement data solutions projects for energy. This is the example of a private project made by Google, which is called Project Sunroof, which is also focused on estimated solar potential for every roof in the United States, but they also have an information aggregated on a level of a zip code, of a state, of a city. So it can provide information in form of interactive maps or indicators, including for policymakers to estimate the solar energy potential that they have within the respective territories. For now, I have showed examples that were focusing on the energy topic, and the energy was treated separately. But there are also initiatives that integrate energy as one of the parts of a general vision for the territory. And this is the case for Amsterdam. They have data and information initiative that collects all the information that is related to the city. It can be energy, it can be infrastructure. There are also public places, transport, environment, and economy. And the project is very interesting because it provides with not only with interactive maps, but it also provides with data sets that can be accessed, either downloaded, either accessed by web services, and a lot of data is made public. So these are the whole variety of projects that exist. Now we will make a zoom to a specific project and see it a bit more in detail. And this is the project of SED, Information System for the Territory in Geneva. Why I have selected this example? Firstly, I know it pretty well because I use it very often, but it's also based on the research and the information that we try to collect for different locations. The project is pretty well advanced and can give a lot of inputs. So the SED is a project which aims to collect all the possible data within for the territory of Geneva, for Swiss territory, but also for the neighboring territory of France, as Geneva has a lot of economic, cultural, and other connections with border and France territory. And the ambition is to centralize and distribute and share all the geographic data possible, and also to provide the tools that actually facilitate the access to different actors to this information. How the project is organized? It is organized on a voluntary basis. So it's a network of different partners. Among the partners are the State of Geneva, the municipalities of the Canton of Geneva, but also the neighboring municipalities of the neighboring Canton Vaud of France, different organizations, public organizations like Geneva Industrial Services, which is a utility company that provides electricity, natural gas, district heating and water to the canton. There are Geneva Public Transport Organization, Airport, Parking Organization, the pension fund, which has a very significant building stock in the canton, research institutions, and also the federal organization Swiss Topo. The mission of Swiss Topo is to centralize all the possible geographic information for Switzerland from different cantons. There is no single standard on geographic data for the country. Every canton does it a bit in its own way, and Swiss Topo gathers all the possible information. So how is ECTG organized from legal perspective? They have a number of legal documents that determine the organization of ECTG, and also the rules of data use, how data can be accessed by whom, for which purpose. I have put the links to the documents. The original documents are normally in French, but the links to they provide with automatic translation into English. So if some of you is interested in legal aspects of the legislation of how this type of initiatives are done, you could also consult the documents. Among the legal documents are the terms of service on how data can be used. And there are different ways to use data. It depends on the type of data. The majority, over 70% of data is in open access. It's open data. It means that no matter who in Geneva, in any other country in the world can access the data set. They can consult it as a map, but they can also download it or use web services to access the data from their own software. And they can do all the manipulations possible. But there are also some more sensitive data sets that either put only on consultation, so they cannot be downloaded, or they are reserved only for partners of ECTG. And the partners, it doesn't mean that they can do whatever they want with this data set. The use of the data set should enter in the mission, in the legal mission of the organization. How the access to data is organized. So ECTG has a catalog in which you can search the data either by the topic or by the owner or by the access rights. And when you find the data set that is interesting to you, you can read the description, but you can also, you have a link to consult it directly on the map. You have, if it's open data, you can also directly download the data set to your computer, or you can find a link to a web service that you can integrate in your own software, so the information will come up automatically and it will be automatically updated. And what is also very nicely done at ECTG is actually description of each data set. They have general description that describes what data is about, by whom is it collected, but then they have a standardized metadata. The data, as you might have guessed, is produced by different stakeholders, by all the partners of ECTG. So they needed to make an agreement in which format they describe the data. And it's done in a standard format, in a very detailed format where you can see the description of each field of the data set, but also who has produced data, what is it about, and even a contact of a person which is responsible for the data set. You can write an email or even call a person and ask questions if you have some particular questions and you would like to clarify some details. And what energy data is actually available? So there are a lot of data sets on energy. Most of them are in open access. So there is information on the heating system. It's a capacity of individual heating system at each building in Geneva. So it's either gas or heating oil. The majority are not connected to district heating, and you can see the year of installation, the capacity, and some other details. You can also have information on energy efficiency indices. So there is heat consumption index, to which I will present more in detail, but there is also information on solar potentials for photovoltaic and thermal energy, including the simulation of potential costs and economic benefits of different technological solutions. You can have a lot of information on geothermal energy potentials, on roof insulation. So this is the infrared aerophotography that can show you the roofs that are less well insulated, and also the aspects of territorial energy planning that regard the potential energy resources, but also the energy demand for a specific territory within the canton. And the data sets, they include both raw data, but also the indicators. And the quality of data is very different. Some data comes from measurements, some of it is estimated. And there are also a lot of other data sets that are not related directly to energy, but are very useful if one wants to do energy planning or any analysis which is related to energy. These are the buildings like addresses, building characteristic like surface, age of construction, number of floors, and then there are even some details on the apartments and the number of inhabitants, on types of business which is installed in the buildings, the restaurants, all the types of economic activities, and also urban data sets, including the allocation zones and urban development plans and infrastructure. So what actually do actors do with this type of data? Probably one of the most important and interesting data sets is heat consumption index that is available for the majority of buildings in Geneva. Heat consumption index represents an energy that has been spent on space heating and water consumption per square meter of heated surface area, which is also corrected to climate or not. This data, the collection of this data is obligatory for all building owners that carry the cost for data collection. They can either do it themselves or hire a certified energy professional that does the calculation and has to send the data to the cantonal energy office. This is the executive authority responsible for energy every year. And this index is particularly interesting because it is used by different stakeholders for different purposes. Initially, it has been done to establish the targets for buildings for energy performance. So the buildings that are above a certain level of energy consumption, they do not have any obligatory requirements. But if they overpass consumption level, currently it's 800 megajoule per square meter per year. Now, these values are currently under revision. If the limit is overpassed, the building owner is obliged to make an energy audit. And according to the results of the audit, if the building is between 800 and 900 megajoule per square meter per year, there is a list of energy efficiency measures that have to be implemented within 2 years delay. And this includes only the energy measures that have a payback time less than 3 years. And if the building is not energy efficient at all, it has a delay, a much longer delay of 5 years, but they are obliged to implement all the energy efficiency measures in order to decrease the level of energy consumption under the limit level. And this information is used by policymakers to set up the target limits, but also by the executive authorities for the purpose of control and prescription, because they have this information for individual buildings, even every and evolution year per year. But this is done not only for control purposes, it is also widely used by other stakeholders, including the building owners, the building managing companies, and even energy professionals, in order to work and take decisions for the building stock. As the data can be accessed directly, the building owners, for example, can use it to make an analysis of their building stock and identify the buildings that can actually be put as priority for renovation. The energy professionals use this data to make pre-evaluation of energy projects. Of course, this information cannot replace the measurements, the real measurements that take place during the energy audit, but it saves time and money at the first steps of energy evaluation for each building, in order to have the first idea of its performance and whether it should be studied more in detail or not. To summarize, you can see that when we talk about energy, when we talk about data solutions for energy transition, there is a whole variety of solutions. They are implemented by different types of actors. They cover different thematic and geographic scale. And of course, they have different use variations. It really depends on what is the target audience for the data solution and what are the functionalities that are important for this target audience. But still, there are some common parts that could be taken as a message. So any data solution is based on an organizational and technical element. It actually is based on collaboration of engaged stakeholders that produce and consume data. It works hardly to improve data management practices and build infrastructure to make data accessible, to make use of data. And of course, it also requires evolution of legal framework, because data solutions, they represent an innovation, something new that is coming both with regard to energy needs, but also with technology, all the technological developments. And legislation constantly needs to be adapted, on the one hand to allow the use of data, on the other hand to protect the citizens and the companies and other stakeholders and ensure the security of the information, the security of private information. As a result, the data solutions, they help better collect the data, to improve its quality and to make it accessible in a much easier and understandable way. And also, the data solutions should not be seen as something that either exists or is completely finished and working. It's actually a process. The elements are put in place and they are constantly evolving with regard to the needs of the stakeholders and the technical capacities. And what would be hopefully useful and interesting to see with Georgia? In Georgia, as in many other locations, a lot of data is already collected. And there are actually a lot of elements that are already put into place, like the geostat projects, including the mapping project, and all the initiatives. So these, the developments already take place. And the question is actually how to better use this potential in order to support all the efforts in the field of energy transition, both with regard to policy making, energy programs and planning, but also to implementation of energy projects in the field. And hopefully the examples of international experience, yes, they are very diverse, but they can be studied to offer insights from two different perspectives. First perspective is what actually is the possible usage of data information. And the second is how actually, if we want to use the data solutions, what are the practical steps in establishing a data solution initiative and the structural elements that should be put into place. So this was the first part of the presentation, in which we saw an overview of what data solution means, how they're implemented in different locations. And the second part, which we will have with the colleagues from Georgia, is actually the focus on the country to better understand what is the current state in terms of policy making, the initiatives, and the data collection practices. So hopefully it will help us to put the two elements together to further discuss the possible synergies in the later steps of the workshop. So I think I'm almost on time. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Alisa. That was a very good overview of what is available in the world, and then we can look more at how some of these solutions can be applied in Georgia. My suggestion is that we go right now. I don't see any questions in the chat right now. I believe people may need to digest a little bit what you just presented. And I put in the chat information that your presentation, as well as presentations of the Georgian colleagues, are already available at our website, the website through which you registered, the UNECE webpage of this workshop. So my suggestion is to go to the presentation from the colleagues from the Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development. In the meantime, if we receive questions after that presentations, we can have some questions and answers for you so that we don't lose time. I actually do see I do see a question from Vaho Kocharadze, who asks where we can find such data in Georgia. I believe some of the presentations from Georgian side today may answer that question, and also we'll look at what are the gaps in data collection and data processing in Georgia. So let's defer this question to a little bit later time. And now I would like to give the floor to Zaza Chihradze, who is the head of Energy Reforms and International Relations Department of the Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development of Georgia. Zaza, the floor is yours, and I will be now sharing my screen.
So thank you, Mr. Tbilisi. I will share by myself the presentation.
Okay, then okay. I will. Sorry. Then let me turn. Oops. I don't know what happened, but let me stop sharing. And Zaza, you can now do that yourself. Apologies, I was just following the instructions from your colleagues.
Yeah. But since we see the possibility to share by ourselves, I will use this possibility.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
You see my presentation, yes?
Yes, we do.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for organizing this meeting, notwithstanding the relevant disturbance and this coronavirus crisis. So we all are together anyway, and we work as we should do it, notwithstanding of these obstacles. First of all, let me provide the information what we have in Georgia with regard to the energy and energy efficiency measures and energy efficiency legislation. First of all, I want to say that according to the existing legislation, the Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development is a policy maker and implementator of energy policy and of also the construction sector policy. It means that it is more easy to implement new requirements in field of energy and construction because it's under one body, under our ministry, and that give us possibility to do this more flexible way. As for construction sector, Ministry has a power to elaborate the relevant construction standards, norms, and but improvement is under the government competition, and that means that all these elaborated acts will be approved by the government and will be enforced. So even now, notwithstanding that we have no yet the energy efficiency legislation, we have a relevant provision in our laws that say that we have a power to support energy efficiency measures and make some amendments in our legislation. But anyway, we are going to meet meet the requirements of the European relevant directives. Maybe you know that we have an obligation to harmonize the relevant requirements of European directives about energy efficiency and buildings energy efficiency. And at this moment, we have a such situation. Draft law on energy efficiency is already in the parliament and waits its final hearing. We have such procedure that parliament should have a 3 plenary session, 3 plenary hearing to approve relevant law, and now we are on the final hearing, and we wait that these draft laws on energy efficiency as well as law on energy performance and building will approved at the end of this month, since we already wait that the relevant emergency measures will be cancelled because we have some progress with regard to the coronavirus measures. So about law on energy labeling, it is also one of the legal base for energy efficiency measures. It is already approved at the end of the last year. So we are on our active phase to implement these energy efficiency requirements. Also, the National Energy Efficiency Action Plan has been approved by the government at the end of the last year, but it is only for 2 years period. But when we will have a new law on energy efficiency and energy performance of buildings, we will elaborate the more wider action plan, which will cover more issues than we have now. So as for these laws, the law of energy efficiency considers to implementation relevant energy efficiency directive, and it is our obligation based on the accession protocol, which has been signed when Georgia enters to the energy community society. So according to this energy efficiency law, the energy efficiency policy will become one of the priority of the country. Now we have just relevant provisions in our charter. I mean charter in ministry's charter, but after this law will be enforced, this direction will be one of the priority for the country, and we hope that our colleagues from yourself and our colleagues from European Union also will help to achieve the main goals, which should be achieved according to our obligations, which we have towards to the European Union also.
Dear colleagues, there is some background noise. Please turn off your microphones if you don't speak, because we hear some background noise in addition to Mr. Chikradze's presentation. Please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So the law on energy efficiency considers and energy efficiency in the buildings considers relevant measures, legal measures, how to achieve all the requirements which is needed to somehow improvement of energy efficiency and further development. For example, these laws considers the certification of the buildings, also this energy audit mechanism, which should be done based on the relevant by relevant independent experts, and they should be accredited and certified by our National Center of Accreditation. So it gives the base to implement the whole structure of energy efficiency measures, starting from the governmental level to relevant consumer and relevant enterprise level. These laws consider also, on the one hand, obligations to meet energy efficiency requirements, and it means in the first step to provide energy audits in the big enterprises, and also on the other hand support from the government for small and middle enterprises to carry out this energy audit, because we have a lack of information in the country what benefits might have these energy efficiency measures, and these energy audits and these experts may provide clearance with this regard, and when they will have this energy audit relevant conclusions, they may decide to improve by themselves these energy efficiency measures, because it gives quite big economy in the relevant technological process and relevant activities. So as for energy, as for the governmental perspective, we have an obligation also, according to these draft laws what I mentioned, that government should start implement the energy efficiency relevant measures on its own buildings, and it will
Zaza, I have to ask you to finish your presentation soon. We are short on time. I give you 1 more minute, please.
Thank you for this. Of course, I will just add that government will start by himself to provide like an example for others how it is important to meet energy efficiency goals, and we have a law obligations to start at least 1% of our own buildings to renew them and for meet the relevant energy efficiency requirements. So the laws also considers the also the cost effectiveness estimations, because there might be some situation when the energy efficiency measure is not very cost effective, and in this case the requirements of the law would be forced for such buildings. It is also considered by our drafts. So it was the general overview of our legislation and the future perspective. If you will have any questions, I'm ready to answer your questions. Thank you very much for attention.
Thank you very much, Zaza. Thank you. So far, we have received a couple of questions. One is to Alisa, and the second one, I'm not sure, but I think it is to you, Zaza. Let me start in the order of receiving them. So the question to Alisa was the following. Under SITG project, who are responsible for audit and performance control of buildings? For example, flat owner associations. That was from Nicholas Sumbadze. Alisa, can you answer, please?
Yes, thank you for your question. Actually, it's but not within ECTG. ECTG is a platform that unites information, but the information is coming from different governmental bodies. So the obligation to calculate heat consumption index and to perform an audit if a heat consumption index overpasses a threshold is actually based on cantonal legislation and is controlled by executive authorities responsible for energy. And how the audit is performed, so when the building owner has a building which is obliged to audit, they have a choice between different private providers of audit services. There are some standard audit which is also related to building certification, and there are some companies who offer these types of services, but the building owners, they can do it and hire the companies as they want. There are also actually some subsidies for energy audit. It means that the building owner can apply for federal subsidies to reduce the cost of the audit. And there is the whole work with different types of energy professionals. Some energy professionals, they have to be certified, some not, but they all take part in the process of building renovation of energy efficiency improvement. And there is a lot of support, of training support, which is either provided by the Confederation financing, which is distributed to the local authorities, and then they run the program, or even by the public utility company, they can also support it. But the principle in Geneva is actually to support small business and to support small companies in order to be capable to do audit and other types of works and to improve their professional competencies. I hope I have answered.
Thank you, Alisa. I hope you did. The question from Georgi Serbiladze was, what will be requirements for taking energy audit certification? And do we have specific requirements? And if yes, what are they? I believe that was more a question to Zaza Chikradze. Essentially, Alisa just answered on the Swiss side. So Zaza, please.
Yes, as I mentioned, we have on the level of law, which considers this obligation that energy auditor should be certified, but law does not consider concrete requirements. It says that these requirements should be established by the government because the certification programs and the relevant training programs should be established, and these representatives which want to achieve this certificate, they should go through these training programs. But at this moment, we have no these programs. This will be second step. And KfW help us to elaborate this secondary legislation. And when we will have this, the law considers to establish these programs and the rules, the requirements for certification in several months. And we will provide all detailed information after we will have these drafts for secondary legislation. At this moment, we have no concrete requirements. They are under elaboration.
Thank you, Zaza. And I just see notes from both Nikolaos and Georgi that they're happy with the answers from Alisa and from you. And of course, as you just said, Georgia has some more work to do in terms of bylaws and training and so on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Zaza. Thank you. We now go to the next.
Sorry, just one small comment. I have sent the link, which is normally translated to English, which is an example on how the person can be certified as an energy auditor in Switzerland. So if you're interested, you can check the website.
Thank you very much, Alisa. Thank you. We now go to the next part. Again, we'll have presentations from Georgia. It's an overview of national, regional, and local initiatives to promote energy efficiency in buildings. And the first speaker is Georgia Bulashvili. Very happy to have him presenting at this workshop. He is the director of Energy Efficiency Center of Georgia. And I understand that George will share his screen. Please, George, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Oleg. It should come. No? Can you see it?
Yes, George, we see your Covenant of Mayors for
Yes.
Climate and Energy presentation. Please go into the slide mode. And yes, thank you, George. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thanks to continuous support to UNECE as an institution and the team working with the UNECE energy sector for organizing an event where we have a powerful exchange with national, international colleagues and discuss on different subjects. It's a really great tool for development and the improvement of the local country capacities. And this particular event is the great indicator. Now let's talk about data access and data availability, which is a key, and this key for designing and monitoring of the energy efficiency or any kind of policy. There were quite significant steps made during the last few years for the development of the systems to the data access policy, and as we heard 2 minutes ago from the ministry officials, also legal framework is in the final stage of its development. So this is great tools for creation of environment, A, for development of the policy, a more, let's say, tailored policy, and B, for development of the projects and activities we have in the country, and our communities and society, and going down to the Covenant of Mayors, our municipalities will benefit with. But data is must to receive these benefits, and the municipality representatives who are on the webinar, mistaken naming this event. So they are more than aware how important it is to have data. I have no noise. How important to have data available for development of local policies at the municipal level and for implementation and monitoring of the project. Today I'm going to talk about one of the initiatives that is happening in the country, but not only in our country, but in the Eastern Partnership countries. It's Covenant of Mayors on climate for climate and energy. There are few statistics. There are 24 signatories, almost 60% of the population are covered. Unfortunately, only 10 local municipal plans are developed, and one of the bottlenecks in development of municipal plan is access to the information at the local level. There are different national institutions also involved. Our co-organizer of today's event, Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development, along with Ministry of Environment and Environmental Protection and Agriculture, are national coordinators. But during the process of implementation of Coordinator Mayor project, we faced also an issue of availability of the data at the local level and partially at the national level as well. And we developed exercise, and thanks to Etuna, who represents Batumi municipality, we analyze barriers and drivers for development of municipal as well as national strategies that include some issues that is closely linked to the data availability and accessibility at each sub-national and national level. As an illustration, the subtest of this exercise was to develop a benchmark database for the implemented projects at the municipalities. So, and we developed the questionnaire and it was distributed. We received totally 108 feedbacks from the municipalities, all 34 municipalities. And on the screen we have distribution of the projects, but the lack of the information was absolutely clearly visible from the feedbacks received. There were a number of projects, as I said, 180 projects with total investment of above 53 million euros. 53 million euros. Unfortunately, this the highest column, not unfortunately, but highest column for 43 million for other projects includes 35 million of EBRD project that was used for clean public transport in Tbilisi, and also around 10 million for public transport in Batumi. So, but now going back to the content of the questionnaires received. Our today's discussion about the data availability and data access and data at the municipal level. There is a tape of feedbacks we received for building energy efficiency. For the total amount was 2. Total the project is developed was 12, but the feedback received with more or less satisfactory information in it with just 2. So this is the clear indication that municipal energy efficiency projects are not easily cannot be easily controlled within the existing setting or structures of the municipalities, meaning that this information out of 12 we are lacking information of 10% could not be reflected into the national data, while the case is fully different in the renewable energy, particularly rooftop solar projects. The principal difference in between is that the building energy efficiency, you all know that it's quite a complex methodology and complex measures to be applied. While renewable energy rooftop solar projects, the technology itself quite sophisticated, but the monitoring could be done by the technology. I mean, smart meter could do monitoring, and even most of the inverters for the grid connected solar rooftop projects could be monitored by your smartphone data. So based on the different technologies, there are monitoring which has to be considered while we are talking about the further elaboration, further improvement of the municipal data collection, for the data collection on both national and subnational level. Same same is applicable for another technology, street lighting project. We got almost 50% of the responses, and because of the meters are involved, could be smart or non-digital meters involved, still the data collection could be done at least they are managing to collect the information for implementation and monitoring, while for transport, which again could be quite a sophisticated, requires quite a sophisticated approach, and maybe much more resources are not monitored, and data are not available at municipal level.
George, sorry for intervening. You have maximum 2 more minutes. We're already well behind schedule. Thank you, George.
Okay, I will go to my last slide then. So another issue that is data collection for the preparation of the action plans. Would that be at national or subnational level? The availability of data, availability of information of the building stock. We saw, I would say, wonderful presentation and from Alisa how it should be. Unfortunately, we are far away from there, and a lot of efforts to be made to develop a system. I think both national authorities, we have here their welcome speech to be involved in that. National Statistics Office and Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development to develop data collections structure that the municipal properties, municipal buildings, and the building stock as such is covered, because of the buildings and the transport are the most critical technologies for the data collection and the further monitoring whether these projects are monitored or implemented. The conclusion of the studies we have on the screen, and definitely underline that this cooperation at subnational and national level for data collection to be redesigned and structured. Then I have a project samples. I will jump it, but I want to underline one unique project which is run under the Covenant of Mayors demonstration project. This is sister projects of Covenant of Mayors Tourists, but run individually. So this is a unique project. We are implementing alternative biomass supply for the kindergartens, and Tbilisi municipality is partner, and thanks. I saw Georgi is among the participants. I think shortly we can demonstrate spectacular results of this project, where the remains of the wine making in Georgia are used for the heating of the kindergartens. Most of the biomass supply chain components are done, and the building rehabilitation process is ongoing. So I will not stop on another project which was implementing, but in each of them we are lacking of information at the monitoring stage because of this system is existing in Georgia. And my last slide, there is a way to do it better, particularly meaning that we can collect more data, and we have to make more effort for that. Thanks. Hope I managed to be in time.
Thank you very much, George. Quite a few very interesting things. Also, information about the gaps in data collection. We will have a presentation specifically on statistics later today. So we hope to get some answers to that. Now, we will not waste any more time. And the next one, I don't think we have the presentation. We have in the agenda Etuna Lomadze, Head of Municipal Policy Department from the Batumi City Hall. Etuna, will you speak?
Yes. Good afternoon.
I would like to ask you to limit your presentation or speech to 6-7 minutes, or if you have a presentation, then share the screen.
Yes, unfortunately, I don't have my presentation here, but I will try to very briefly talk about our experience in Batumi.
Okay,
So good
that's
afternoon
fine.
once again.
I would like to ask George to stop sharing his screen. Thank you,
I'm
George.
trying my best.
Okay, Etuna,
So maybe I can start. Yes.
Yes, please. Yes.
Good morning once again. Thank you for invitation and for the opportunity to share our experience, how we are dealing in Batumi regarding the energy efficiency in buildings. So very short introduction how Batumi municipality started working on energy efficiency. Generally, we started in 2011 when we joined Covenant of Mayors initiative. In 2014, we have approved Batumi Sustainable Energy Action Plan, and since that, we are implementing various energy efficiency projects in transport, buildings, waste management, and street lighting sectors together with international financial organizations and donor organizations. So specifically towards energy efficiency in buildings, so we started working in 2017. It was within the framework of Georgian-German financial cooperation when KfW Bank issued a 300,000 euro grant for pre-feasibility study for introduction of EU energy efficiency standards in municipal buildings. We conducted pre-feasibility within six months, and the project consisted of two major components. The first one was to prepare a short list of municipal buildings with energy efficiency, rehabilitation potential, and potential for energy saving. It was about 25 kindergartens in this case, and to prepare investment plans and plans to find those investments for rehabilitation works. And the second very important component was preparation of blueprint for introduction of energy efficiency standards in municipal buildings. We also successfully prepared this blueprint, but as there were no national standards in place in those times, so we did not approve it yet, and we have those standards prepared already, but not approved for this time. Also, this pre-feasibility formed a basis for the bigger project, which is now ongoing in Batumi municipality. It's called Energy Efficiency Measures and Approach to EU Energy Efficiency Standards in Building. This project is also supported by German government. It's completely grant, about 8 million euro. Budget, the 2 million euro co-financing from Batumi municipality. And this project also has two major components. The first one is investment in social infrastructure, specifically to implement pre-feasibility study and findings of pre-feasibility study, and to rehabilitate those 25 kindergartens according to EU energy efficiency standards. And second one is to support to the regulatory framework and specifically to support to the development of sustainable market for building constructions. So the important thing is that Batumi municipality is pilot municipality which will implement energy efficiency in a municipal building. So if it is done successfully, then this project will be replicated on a national level. So very quickly about challenges which we faced during the preparation of the pre-feasibility and also during the implementation of this project. It is, of course, availability of statistical information, considering the fact that we had stakeholders mainly on municipal level. For example, municipal organizations who requested information about energy consumption, but we didn't find such kind of information, or it was not very precise. And also we requested some construction drawings from public registry, which was also outdated and needed to be renewed. So I think that Mr. George spoke very well about constraints that municipalities are facing with regard to preparation of projects or implementation of projects. It goes beyond than statistics because we have some kind of administrative and institutional barriers. For example, when cities joined Covenant of Mayors, they did not adapt their institutional structure to the needs of fulfilling those commitments, and also there is lack of technical skills and capacities. There is also no responsible unit for development of statistics, and when we need those statistics for preparation of some projects or feasibilities, we find it just on a regional level or on national level. There is no statistics available on city level or on organization level. As we are in the process of implementation of our big project related to energy efficiency in kindergartens, so we just started to update the pre-feasibility with the implementation consultant, who is also supported by KfW Bank, and this project is planned to be finalized into 2024, and we will be very happy to share also our experience about challenges, about overcoming those challenges in the process of this project implementation and after a finalization of this project. It was very short and quick.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Atuna. Thank you for keeping time and giving some very interesting information about Batumi. Maybe we'll have some questions, but I don't see any now. So I'm going to give the floor right now to your colleague from Rustavi, Head of Economic Development Department of the Rustavi City Hall, Ms. Nino Dogonadze. Nino, the floor is yours. I would also like to again remind everybody, please turn off your mics when you don't speak. Make sure your microphone is turned off. Also, if when you do not speak, we ask you not to turn on your cameras. Cameras take bandwidth, so please turn off your cameras when you do not speak. Thank you all very much.
Hello, thank you for this conference. First of all, I wish you health, peace and stability, which is very important nowadays. My name is Nino Dogonadze from Rustavi City Municipality, Economic Development Department. I want to mention that energy efficiency is one of the important tasks for our municipality. Introduction about our city and the activities which we already have this direction. Climate-friendly is the region in the eastern of the eastern Georgia, and it is the most important economic policy in Georgia. It occupies the second place in development, and this province is Rustavi. Rustavi located in the Kremlin plain on the north side of the river Tbilisi, 370 meters above the sea. It belongs to the semi-arid zone, and for the reason
sorry, Nino. Sorry, I have to interrupt you because there's something. I hear some noise, and I think now it's turned off, and you can continue.
Can I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. And Rustavi was the second city in Georgia which connects the Covenant of Mayors. Self-governed city of Rustavi signed the Covenant of Mayors on May 2, 2011 and committed itself to reduce greenhouse gas emission no less than by 20% below the baseline year. The percent document of Sustainable Energy Action Plan of the city, along with the baseline inventory tables, represents the part of commitments undertaken by the covenant and reflects certain actions and arrangement for reduction in greenhouse gas emission, providing completion of obligation by 2002 years. And according to this document of the Sustainable Energy Plan, we select 4 sectors. They are municipal buildings, municipal transports, street lights, and planting of greenery. The projects, some projects we which was performed with the grant is the big project was a street kindergarten project. In order to obtain a high standard of energy efficiency, we reconstructed street kindergarten number 6, 14 and 41, and one kindergarten installed solar collectors. Also, now we changed metal plastic doors and windows, installed also central heating system. And in order to reduce energy consumption and reduce carbon dioxide emission around the lake of in cultural and recreation park of Rustavi, we changed outdoor lighting system. And also big project was when on the roof of the building of Rustavi municipality, solar panels were installed. Its area is 420 square meters. Electricity generated by solar energy, and this energy is used by Rustavi administrative building. This economizing approximately 8-10% of our energy taxes. And project which performs by municipality are 4 kindergarten rehabilitation, high standards of energy efficiency, 65 or 70% of old outdoor lighting system changed with LED lighting system, 2 social house rebuilding with high standard of energy efficiency, and from 2013 to 2002, we are planted 33,234 trees. From 2030 to 2002, we are rehabilitated 90% of roads, both central and internal roads. In Rustavi municipality, all buildings we are changed lighting system, doors and windows. We every year hold on energy efficiency awareness raising campaign and celebrated Energy Efficiency Day on June. Our problem, besides of small budget, is also statistical data, and this statistic data is also actual because if it energy audits or we need this from writing projects and monitoring process of SIAP. We preparing this monitoring document for the SIAP, but it is very difficult process for us due to lack of these statistic data. And also it will be very good if energy efficiency task will be determined by legislation, as we say about this. And the goals of our future goals are that in 2002 change municipal transport, 40 bus we can buy, and also we sign the SECAP document, and after the signing of agreement, we preparing SECAP document and determine the tasks about the activities, future activities. And also main important thing also is kindergarten and rehabilitated 2002 8 kindergarten in Rustavi. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you. we have a good overview of what's happening in Rustavi. Without further ado, I give the floor to, so thank you again to Nino Dogonadze, Head of Economic Development Department in Rustavi City Hall. Now the floor is with Karina Melikidze, Director of the SDAP Center. Karina, please, if you can limit your presentation to 7-8 minutes. And also a question to you, do you want me to share the screen or will you do it yourself?
Yes, Alex, thank you. Marita informed me that you will share the screen, so I will be very thankful if you do this.
Okay, I will do. You can start, give me 1 minute, I will open the presentation.
Yes, of course. First of all, I would like to welcome all participants, and of course, I'm very thankful to UNECE organizers because it's very important to share our, let's say, experience about all these projects and to think about issues which concern all of us. I mean, energy efficiency experience which we gained in Georgia regarding the, let's say, energy efficient rehabilitation of the 3 kindergartens in Rustavi. Nino already touched this issue. And like, if it's some kind of problem, maybe I will try from my side to share this presentation, or you are already doing this.
Sorry, Miss
Karina, I am trying to give me 1 moment more. It's still downloading somehow.
Yes, it's rather big, yeah. I think I will have the same, let's say, challenges or problems with this presentation to share on the screen. That's why I decided to ask you for this.
Sorry, my screen is now completely locked.
Really?
Yes.
Would I try myself?
Please try yourself.
Okay. Because
actually now it seems to be fine. At least I was able to open it.
Okay.
Let me close some other things. Yeah.
Okay.
And now I will start sharing the screen. And I think this is yours. Yes. Okay.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
So
again, Karina, you have 7 minutes. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I understand. So let's move to another slide immediately. So as it was already mentioned that it's a lack of the technical capacity at municipal level. However, I would mention once again, underline that the Georgian, let's say, cities were very enthusiastically joining to this government of mayors' initiatives, and they are really committed to reduce the greenhouse emissions. So under this specific project, we had the overall objective to enable local authorities to implement the measures, and our measures were exactly related to energy efficiency in buildings. And for this, we had specific objectives to implement this set of high energy efficient measures in the buildings, to test run these technologies and to share, to communicate this information about municipalities and among beneficiaries, and to evaluate on the technology and let's say social level these our findings, our results. So please, can we move to another slide? Sorry.
Please turn off your mics. Those who do not speak, please turn off your mics. Right now, I cannot turn you off remotely because I'm sharing my screen. Please turn off your mics.
So to implement this project, we had the main activities, which you can see on the screen. And the challenge was to carry the full-scale feasibility study and to use, let's say, software to carry out comprehensive energy audits with the software tools to, let's say, to understand the certain amount of the
cost-saving measures that can be implemented in these kindergartens. Then we followed up with technical designs, and we really have very interesting findings for these, let's say, technical designs, because before, at architectural part of the technical designs didn't include the, let's say, insulation, technical design or insulation. And we did this firstly in Georgia. We carried out these effective tenders with the best price quality ratio and selected local companies, and they monitored the construction process and assessed project results. So if we move to another, let's say, slide, I would say that another slide, yes, if we move to another slide, I would say that we did this for 3 kindergartens, as Nino mentioned, number 6, number 40, and number 41, and we can, let's say that measures were divided on both levels for buildings. We covered all technical measures which go to the building envelope and others which go to the building technical systems. To be more specific, I can underline that it were measures that go to the insulation of the walls, to replacement of the windows with a very new technology. First of all, the U value was very low, 1.6. It's with a low emissivity, let's say, glazing. And we used the sealing tapes, which were applied from the inside and outside of the windows to ensure tightness of the building envelope. Also, we, of course, insulated roof and insulated the ceiling of the basement to, again, to ensure that we are precisely, let's say, insulating the whole building. And on the building technical systems, we installed the very good, efficient heating system with thermostatic valves. We also installed solar collectors for the domestic hot water supply, ventilation system with heat recovery about 75%. Also, we completely changed the electrotechnical system. You can see results from the energy audit on this screen, and I would say that column on the left shows the suppressed demand of the building, because the Rustam municipality, during the period of the hardships which we all were facing after the collapse of the Soviet Union, was not able to sustain buildings in that shape and to ensure the same quality of heating which was done during the Soviet era, because these buildings were operating with the district heating systems, and they had only the wall-mounted local gas heaters, not in all rooms. That's why they had such suppressed demand. Column in the middle shows the real energy consumption, which is called baseline, shows the real energy consumption which is needed to building at this stage, I mean without insulation, with these thermal properties as it was built. And after implementation of the project, we were assuming that the energy consumption will be dropped, column on the right, and the full, let's say, comfortable indoor conditions will be in place. Also, I am sharing the results of energy audit with all measures which I already mentioned. And we can move to another slide too. I can really say that this was, after implementation, we are assuming to significantly reduce greenhouse emissions in the kindergarten number 6 with the area of 660 square meters by 35 tons, 35.4, and for the area about 2,700 square meters, more than 110 tons of CO2 emissions per year. So we reached exactly over about 60% of energy savings in these buildings. And the same goes, the number 40 and 41 kindergartens are identical. That's why, due to limitation of time, I didn't, let's say, share all results from all kindergartens, but we can move to the real demonstration. Let's say these are interesting slide which shows our experience with designing of these details in architectural design, because it's technologies, how they have to be applied. It's not something like it's easy doable, because it requires certain qualification and competencies. But now I would say for the detail which is shown on the left, it's fragmentation of the building wall, and it shows that we are applying two different technologies. On the level below ground, we're applying XPS insulation, which is diffusion tight, and it's also covered with the waterproof membranes. And over the ground level, we're applying the rock wool, which is ensures us to have the breathable facade, because building should be healthy, and ventilation is needed to bring the certain amount of the high fresh air in the building, because when you are insulating building, you have to ensure that the fresh air still is in place. And on the right, you can see the, let's say, detail of insulation of the walls. We are not applying only insulation on the slab. We are applying also about height over about 1 meter on the walls, to ensure that we will not have the, let's say, the thermal losses and thermal bridges. We can move to the next slide, and here are visualization.
Sorry, just a little note, we are way behind the schedule, so if you can.
So these are all the pictures, you can just show them, because these are pictures how the rehabilitation process went. Just show them, and that's it. I will stop.
Please speak while I'm turning the slide.
Yeah, okay, so it's before and after. You can see how the building looked before and how it looks after installation and with solar collectors. All these technologies, let's say, heating, let's say, new windows, the installation of number 40 kindergarten here, you can visualize also number 40 before and after. And with the thermal, how we checked the quality of the installation with thermal imaging camera, it shows that we do not have these spots on the walls, and it was done precisely. So it was a great experience, and I'm very thankful to the European Union for this. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Karina. Thank you. Karina represents Sustainable Development and Policy Action Center, and thank you for your presentation. We are 20 minutes behind the schedule. I don't think that we have questions right now. So the next presenter, and we are actually going to the next section of our workshop, which is current state of data collection and availability. We have 3 speakers. I think we can give the floor to one of them before the break, to David Kupatadze, who is the head of Business Statistics Department at the National Statistics Office of Georgia, Geostat. David, you have the floor. David, would you like me to share the screen, or can you do it yourself?
I can do myself. Maybe it's better.
Okay, if you can, then please share the presentation so I can monitor the chat and everything. So you're sharing the content. Seems fine. Yes, go to the slide mode. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. Firstly, I'd like to say that it's my pleasure to be here in this workshop, and hope soon we can possibility to have next workshop in Georgia that's somewhere in energy efficiency building. So let's to our presentation. as you know, it's the institution responsible for the collection of energy statistics data in Georgia is Geostat. Geostat is a legal entity of the public law who carry out their activities independently. Geostat operations utilize international recognized methodology and standards throughout the various organizational functions. Geostat collects annual information regarding the production and consumption of energy forms from different institutional sectors. Geostat analyzes numerous sets of data from the surveys as well as diverse administrative sources and expert assessments to create the annual energy balance basis. It should also be mentioned that the Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development of Georgia, as well as various agencies and companies are involved in the system and can be considered as sources of energy statistics data and is important contributor to the process of analysis. Energy statistics data collected by the law of official statistics of Georgia. Cooperation with Geostat is mandatory. Article 25 sets out the obligation of all entities to provide statistical and other information to Geostat by requesting, of course. Geostat implements its activities based on its annual plan of statistical activities, which is the main instrument for developing and conducting energy statistic activities in Georgia. There is no other legal regulation of publications on energy statistics at this moment. Monitoring of the energy statistics data is regulated by the MOA and is supported by the law on electricity and natural gas and by the law on the electricity market rules. In Geostat, there are 7 people from the industry, construction, and energy statistics subdivision responsible for processing, analyzing, and disseminating energy statistics data. They are also responsible for the collection of energy statistics data from administrative sources and for the formation of energy balance on an annual basis. They are not employed full-time within the energy statistics department, of course, but they are also work on industry and construction statistics. Before discussing the existing energy statistics system in Georgia, I'd like to mention that until 2012, Geostat did not perform activities related on energy statistics. Active measures for the development of energy statistics in Georgia started in 2013, and at the end of 2014, Geostat created complete energy balance, which was the first official energy balance after 2002. In February 2013, a memorandum of understanding was signed between MOE, Geostat, and UNECE Technical Secretariat. Based on this memorandum, a SAP was adopted, and the implementation of the activities according to this action plan started immediately. At the end of 2013, Geostat developed a methodology for data collection. Methodology established a completely new, comprehensive system to collect energy data. Geostat has developed energy statistics questionnaires, which are still used for energy data collection, and it should be mentioned that a present functional, flexible, and comprehensive energy data collection system are in place. Our organization prepared questionnaires covering 2 specific areas: the energy sector and final consumers of the energy. Questionnaires for the energy sector included all the energy forms: coal, natural gas, oil, and petroleum products, electricity, and renewable sources. Questionnaires for the final consumptions of energy included all the sectors. For the collection of data on energy balances, we usually investigate producers, suppliers, traders, and distributors of energy forms with full coverage. In the case of final consumers, it's the first stage, I mean the year 2014. We included all institutional sectors. However, the following year, the service sector was excluded from the final consumption survey, and we only conducted regular survey on the industry, transport, agriculture, construction, and households as well. We decided to repeat surveys on industry, transports, agriculture, and construction sectors, as well households every year. The service sector and other institutional sectors can be surveyed once every 5 years. In the period between surveys, we can estimate the final energy consumption in the service sector is the difference between the total final consumption and the consumption in the industry, transport, agriculture, and construction sectors. Basic energy status data, which is derived from the surveys and administrative sources, have been produced by Geostat since 2013 and are established on an annual basis. Most basic energy statistics have an 11-month timeline. The data on export and import of energy for accounts 1 month, while the data related to households energy use in 5 months. Basic energy statistics data is easily accessible to the public through an electronic database, which is managed by Geostat. Documents on well-developed metadata is not available for each indicator. However, it should be noted that a general explanation of the survey program is included in the publication to help users understand the statistics. The complete information concerning the methodology used to compile the statistics is not available on the website. But all the types of survey questionnaires, including explanatory notices, are published, which can be considered as part of the methodology. Additional dateline information can also be accessed for any interested users upon request. The level of accuracy and consistency of basic energy statistics data is quite high, as data is collected using well-organized surveys and by combining survey and administrative data. In the case of renewable energy data, the majority of listed indicators are available or can be calculated easily based on energy balance. The most challenging data to acquire is data on the investment in renewable energy. It is worth mentioning that the current basic energy data collection system in Georgia is very good, and there is no need to introduce any substantial changes in the system. Georgia has improved and implemented a methodology for the compilation of energy balances, which is harmonized with the international standards and recommendations. This means the quality of data is quite high, and at the same time, well-structured energy balance represent an excellent basis for further analysis and assessments. Apart from the above mentioned, some issues are still challenging, such as the availability of some indicators of disaggregated data necessary for calculations. Furthermore, incomplete metadata and insufficient quality of data are on the top of the list. It was mainly what I wanted to mention about data collection. Thank you for your attention, and if someone has some questions, so if someone needs some additional information, welcome. You can send as well in info@geostat any questions, and we will answer. Because of this, we have a lot of information and we collect a lot of data. It's basically.
Okay, thank you very much. There are a few questions. Well, my colleague Katrin Pierre asks your last name. It is on the screen, David Kupatadze. There are a couple of questions that I think we can answer before the break. One is from colleague from the Esqua region. What about the percentage of the administrative data and survey in Georgia? I'm not sure I quite understand the question, but maybe
okay. It's okay. It's not easy to answer, but I can say that or maybe it's 14% we received from administrative data. Yeah. 40% of information.
Sorry,
Can you hear me?
David, can you repeat it again? You're breaking up. Sorry.
I hope maybe it's 40% of our data is we received from administrative sources.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Not too well.
Okay, I will repeat. Approximately 40% of our data comes from administrative sources.
Okay, thank you, David. There is a question from, I believe, Vakho Chitishvili. Do you cover statistical data to a spatial data? So maybe question on spatial data, and if yes, where I can find it?
Oh, we got this data from the companies. We have some specific questionnaires, and we got this every month. This information define how kind of information is asking you. You hear me?
Yes, Vakho, are you okay with the response?
Vakho can contact directly with us, maybe to use this messenger as well, because I can't hear well.
Okay, so then there will be a separate conversation. Okay. Now I would like to ask Alisa if we need a break now. I think we do. We are a little bit behind schedule. Alisa, can you come online?
Yes.
Okay. Do we do the break now, and then we still have two more presentations from Georgia, and I think they're quite important, from the Georgian National Energy and Water Supply Regulatory Commission and from the Municipal Development Fund of Georgia. Would that be okay if we come back at Georgian time 17:25?
For me, it's fine if it's fine for other colleagues.
All right. Then I will take executive decision, if you wish. We have a 20-minute break. We expect everybody, those who are interested, we think the second part will be no less interesting than the first one. So we hope to see you back at 17:25 Tbilisi time, which is 15:25 Geneva time. So thank you all very much. 20-minute break. We will start again promptly in 20 minutes. Thank you. I'm stopping the recording now. I am not leaving the WebEx. So the WebEx will keep going on, but the recording will stop.